It's 2026, and moving forward, we all have so much leverage available at our fingertips due to technology and AI that you can build $1 million business and not have to sacrifice your health and your family in the process.
When it comes to the choices, I want to jump into another great conversation we had. This was Dr. Andy Galpin, and he talked about the 10-point quadrant, the 4 quadrants. And just to break them down really quick, how he said there's business, relationships, physical practice, and recovery, and you break it 10 points into the 4 boxes. And I believe he had a rule too of your physical practice and your recovery can't be more than 2 points off of each other. That alone, when it comes to high performance, really puts into perspective of how you're chunking these 4 sections of your life. And the one thing that I really took away from Dr. Andy Galpin, and I've worked on this ever since because he works with the top performers in the world. He said the best performers in the world, what makes them so good is how quick they make decisions and how things come and it ping pongs right off of them. And this comes from a guy who I'm like, okay, I'm going to save all my responses till later in the day. And I like chunk things off. But like sometimes it takes 2 seconds to respond and I'm saving it to do it later on. Why? When I should just do it right now. I have the mental capacity to, I have the ability to. So those are some of the 2 things that stuck out for me with Dr. Andy Galpin.
Yeah, I really like the making quick decisions. And I think it was a good reminder of what a true high performer is, because I think a lot of times, I think one of the things that happened at the beginning of the show is he basically corrected an assumption that we were running with. We were miscategorizing the high performer in a way. And so the high performers he's working with are 100 millionaires, billionaires, professional athletes who the only way to get to where they are is to not have balance. They're likely dissatisfied with their life in some way. They're making major trade-offs. And that was something that became apparent in that. And I think that most of our audience is not high performers in the category of they have one single output in their life that is in the 0.1% of everybody. I think that just the realization that his frame on what a high performer was versus our frame of what a high performer was, like we needed to adjust the conversation early on, because I don't consider those people are high performers, but I would never want their life. The lesson of make decisions quickly, that applies to everybody. I think the things to take away from that show, but one of the things I got from it was how the majority of his clients sounded like they were suffering, and they were willing to suffer in one area of their life to maximize another. And the reality that at some point when I achieve X, Y, or Z, then I'll stop suffering in this other category. But how we live our life, it's really, going back to, choosing, making our choices. It's to choose your way back to family after you've sacrificed family for business for so long. It's not like, I'm going to hang up my boots and now I'm a family man. That's not how that works. Because I've worked with people who had done that. I've worked with people who they were high performers in business and they came to me because they were dissatisfied with what was happening in their personal life. And a lot of times it meant, I'm selling my business. I'm making a dramatic shift. But it required months and months of rigorous work and then having to give up the thing they'd worked so hard for in the first place, because they realized it didn't actually scratch the itch they were trying to scratch. And so with Full Stack, my attempt to redefine what a high performer is, because it's 2026 and moving forward, we all have so much leverage available at our fingertips due to technology and AI that you can build $1 million business. You can live a very good lifestyle and make a great impact in the world and not have to sacrifice your health and your family in the process.
Amen. Amen. I love that. And one of the takeaways, I know everyone can home, regardless of where they are, and whether you're at that pinnacle level or you're seeing at $1 million a year, is sleep aspect of things. We talk a lot about sleep and how he said blue light really wasn't the deciding factor on your quality of sleep. It was the arousal, your pursuit for scrolling really kind of gets in the way. And one of the takeaways was the body's physical repair cycle occurs between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. while the mental and emotional repair occurs between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. So the founder who works until midnight and wakes up at 5 a.m. is systematically dismantling their own hormonal and cognitive architecture. So the importance of sleep there was certainly something that was debunked in terms of thinking the blue light was the issue. It was really our arousal, and as well as other things. But great episode there with Dr. Andy Galpin. We recommend you guys listening to.